Hey, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Alexander and I'm a guitarist, composer and overall music nerd from Copenhagen, Denmark. And in this video, we're checking out the new Orange Rockerverb on the Line 6 HELIX. Enjoy! As you probably are aware of by now, with the 3.1 or 3.11 update it is now, the Orange Rockerverb amp was added to the Line 6 HELIX, and I am beyond stoked that this amp is finally here. And what better way to check out this amp than some cool Mastodon riffs. If you're interested in getting this particular patch or some of the other patches that I've made, head down in the description. There's a link to my website down there where all of the information is available. It should be super easy to find. So before we dive into the walkthrough of the tone, let's have a listen to some demos. Alright, so we're here in HELIX Edit, and I'm gonna quickly sort of run through all of the different things that I did, so we don't have to go through all of the settings. You can simply pause the video if you want to copy this exact preset, or you could support your boy by throwing $10 at me and get the preset through my website. I would of course appreciate that a lot. Alright, so we are in the input gate. It is set up like this, fairly straightforward, right? Short decay and minus 45 dB. Then we do something I don't do often. I have a sort of dual overdrive in front of the amp. So first we have the Tima and we have the good old Screamer 808. And after that we have a secondary notch gate because it got a little messy. And it's almost the same settings, right? Minus 48 and fast decay again. So for the meat of potatoes of this tone, we have the dual amp settings, and you can of course steal the setting from amp number 1 here. And you can steal the setting for amp number 2 here. And the sort of overall idea here, same as I did with many of the other dual amp patches that I made, is that we have one amp here, in this case amp number 1, taking care of more of the high end and the more trebly side of things, and amp number 2 is more bassy and takes care of the low end, right? And when we mix these two together, we get a really massive tone that you cannot really get the same result out of using a single amp, right? The downside here is, as I also read somewhere, the Rockerverb takes up a bunch of DSP, so this will not work on a HX Stomp, for example. I don't know with the HX Stomp XL, I haven't read too much into that, but it works fine on a Helix and then LT as well, right? Okay, so we path A and path B down to the parallel path down here, where we of course have a dual cap set, right? And here we have a 4x12 Mandarin EM with a 57 dynamic. You can see the settings there, fairly straightforward if you watched some of my previous videos. And same here, the matching cab, right, but with a 121 ribbon mic instead. So again, this trick with the 57 taking care of more of the bite and the high end, and then having a ribbon mic that catches more of the low end and that sort of oomph, so we get both of them right. And we of course mix those two together, and it sounds super awesome, right? And then we add a EQ afterwards, and this is a parametric, and you can see the settings here. If you pause, it's almost the same as I did in some of my previous patches as well, but of course I tweak it depending on the amp and the cabinets used, and also the guitar has a lot to say here. Then a fairly common trick by now, a room verb in the end. Stock settings, but we bring the mix down to around 13 or 15 to get that amp in the room kind of sound, and it really makes up a great difference, right? And then finally, with the new update came along the retro reel as well. And this is sort of like a virtual tape machine, like the Slate has a virtual tape machine as well. And it can do some fairly extreme stuff that you can of course use for whatever you want. But as you can see with these settings as well, they're fairly sort of dialed back, and it just gives a, I don't want to say analog sound because this has nothing to do with analog stuff, but it adds something to the tone. It just, in short, it makes it sound better. so try it out and try and punching it on and off and see what you think best, right? And again, of course, you can feel free to steal these settings. I simply wanted to play around with it because it was added to the new update, and I read some good stuff about it online. And of course, it's something I do in mixing in Cubase and stuff like that all the time. Put it on the master bus or on specific instrument buses, just to add this, analog feel and add some warmth, and in this case as well some saturation, and just simply warm up the signal a little bit, and in this case also sort of like a compressor on a mix bus or on a guitar bus or something like that, sort of glue, I hate that term, but glue the whole sound a little more together, and in this case it worked out really well. Alright, so that's all for this week's video. I hope that you enjoyed the tone demo, and I hope that you enjoyed the walkthrough, and you will get a kick-ass Rockerverb sound after watching this video. If you haven't already, feel free to check all of the links down in the description. It will really make me happy. If you head over to my website, composition101.com, you can find all of my Helix presets. There's this exact one in the YouTube bundle where you get all of the past ones, this exact one, and all of my future patches that I do here on YouTube. Also, there's all of my premium custom-made packs with different themes, gig-ready metal and modern metal and prog rock and all that kind of stuff. And you can, of course, check that out as well. And on top of that, I have a subscription service where I do guitar courses, theory courses, and all that kind of stuff. And you can find all of the information on the website as well. Thank you very much for taking the time out of your day to watch the video. It truly means a lot to me, and I will see you sometime next week. Stay healthy and stay safe. Until next time, see ya.